Hi, everyone. Today we are talking to one of my clients, somebody who's almost done the program, the Belly Fat Fix. His name is Alan, and he's from Alberta, Canada. Hi, Alan.
Hi Trina, how are you?
I'm good. So we're just going to have a little discussion today about what Alan's experience has been working with me inside the Belly Fat Fix. And we're also going to be talking about how he's managed to lose 30 pounds in a healthy way without cooking. So, so I'm sure there are a bunch of guys that are watching that really don't like cooking or don't know how to cook. And Alan is a fantastic example of how you can get sustainable weight loss and eat whole healthy foods without cooking. So just to get started, Alan, maybe you can just tell us a little bit about yourself and also why you decided to work with me.
Sure. Um, the biggest thing I noticed was that I had gained and lost weight several times throughout the course of my adult life, and I was looking for a more sustainable way to lose weight and keep it off. And at the time that I was searching for a program such as this, and yours happened to come along at the most fortuitous time. In fact, I was suffering from extreme anxiety, and I just I didn't know where else to turn. I gotten to a point where if I don't deal with this anxiety rather quickly, um, that I didn't want to have to go down previous avenues like um, seeking more mental health therapy or worst case scenario being institutionalized at least temporarily, like it happened to me three previous times over the
Yeah.
course of my adult lifetime. Um, in mental hospitals, even for just 10 days or 2 weeks at a time.
So you sort of, I guess you had, I mean, you had a feeling, like a gut feeling that dealing with your nutrition or optimizing your nutrition and losing the weight would help with the anxiety.
Yes, it could because I noticed um, having 2 years ago, having lost a substantial amount of weight at the time, about 50 pounds, following a keto diet, that my anxiety levels were greatly reduced. Not
Mhm.
that I would ever um, not that I would ever stump for the keto diet ever again. It's just that's all I knew had worked really well for me at the time, and
Okay.
for all of my all of my weight and anxiety and health markers at the time. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think, keto does definitely work for people, they lose weight. And I've talked to many men who have done keto diet. It's a very it's not bad for you actually if you do it short term. If you want to do a ketogenic diet to get things kick started for a few weeks or for a month, it's fine. But I think where, people make a mistake is they do it long term. Like I think you did it for 6 months or something like that,
yeah,
right?
so somewhere around the 4 to 6 month mark. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then a ketogenic diet has to also be optimized. You have to make sure that you're getting all the nutrients you need, even inside of that, for you to lose weight sustainably, right? To make sure that
Yeah.
you maintain your muscle mass and
Mhm.
that you're just losing mostly fat, which is something we've been focusing on heavily with you. Is just we've been every week looking at looking at all the information you send me because you have that special scale,
Yeah.
and just making sure that your fat's going down and your muscle mass is either going up or staying the same.
Yeah.
So, yeah, which will, make the difference now. You'll be able to keep the weight off long term as a result. Yeah. So, you don't cook, as I mentioned before. And
That's right.
yeah. So How have you found, how should I say this? Um, yeah, I mean, I know for a fact that most people do cook, or they have a wife who cooks, or they have, or they think, well, hey, if I'm going to lose weight, if I really want to be healthy and take control of my health, that, I have to learn how to prepare food, and I have to do a lot of meal planning. But in your situation, I don't think you've really had to do that, right?
No, no. I
Yeah.
even in a past relationship of 18 years, neither one of us rarely if ever cooked. And
Hmm.
I was living in it was a very unhealthy uh, lifestyle,
Yeah.
living a lot on takeout and
Yeah.
fast food, and so my health and weight both suffered in tandem as a result.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I learned basically just to live with using a blender and a microwave. So
Yeah.
a lot of the ingredients that I use in my smoothie are what I learned to use following a clean ketogenic diet.
Yeah.
Um, you know, things like frozen veggies, broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots. And I'm also using avocado was another healthy, you know, a healthy fat that I learned to use through and sauerkraut. Um, there's a number of other ingredients that I use for for my smoothie, not the avocado and the sauerkraut anymore in the smoothie like I did before, obviously. But
Yeah.
raw eggs, hemp and chia seed, and I was using flaxseed, but obviously people will learn through the program. Certain ingredients work better than others,
Yes,
obviously.
yes.
So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, Alan and I both are fans of, canned fish, and I'm always happy when I work with people and I ask them, do you like sardines? Do you like canned salmon? Um, or there are others too, mussels, smoked mussels, smoked oysters, just because those are very easy sources of protein that are very healthy. So you can open a can of salmon and, make yourself some vegetables on the side, or have it with, an avocado and some sauerkraut, for example, Alan, like you do, and that makes a very well balanced, healthy meal. And Alan, loves sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are a great starchy vegetable to eat. Those could be cooked in the microwave, right? And
yeah,
yeah, so I think a lot of people, or a lot of men, get worried about a program like this, run by a holistic nutritionist, that it's going to be a bunch of really complicated recipes and complicated ingredients. But uh, as you know, Alan, I work with people, at the point where they are. So it's,
yeah,
if you love being in the kitchen, then that's great. Like, I can provide, ideas for recipes and, variety and all these things. But if you don't really want to be spending time in the kitchen, or you don't really have a desire or the time, um, to eat that way, there's no need. Like, you just have to eat very simple foods. It's not complicated. Doesn't have to be complicated. It's not extremely rigid. Like, you go out once in a while also, right? To have a meal outside of the house.
yeah.
Yeah. And pizza and ice cream cake once in a while too.
Yeah, not very often and not very big, but
Yeah. So I'm just trying to think of what I know. We were talking last week, and we should have recorded that session, because we had this long conversation about, the importance of health, and how 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 difficult it really can be to navigate navigate a healthy diet in the societal environment that we live in, right? Because there are um, so many unhealthy choices. Yeah. And I think people really need to know that it can be simple and it
Mhm.
can be easy. I hope it has been for you. I think it has been.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
if you like cottage cheese, that helps too as a good source of protein. So
yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of great sources of protein and a lot of great foods that you can eat. And I think it's really important to talk. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about your experience with anxiety. I mean, I know you mentioned at the beginning that doing or eating in the way that I've showed you has really greatly reduced your anxiety. You were able to, deal with that episode of relatively severe anxiety that you're having before we started working together. But I
mhm.
also know that now, while we have been working together, for example, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, you were feeling your levels of anxiety rising again.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we did a deeper dive about,
Mhm.
what your diet was looking like right at that time, what your activity level was looking at, and we discovered that, you were not getting enough
Exactly.
calories. You weren't getting enough protein, you were not getting enough calories. And I think it's really important for people to understand that there's not, mental health and physical health are intricately connected.
Yeah,
And maybe you can speak a little bit to that, Alan, because I mean, you know better, yeah, better than I do what your experience was.
sure. I like I say, I had reached a point there before finding your program that I was going to have to find a way to nip my anxiety levels in the bud, and which seemed to have spiked again within the last couple weeks. But if anybody um, continues to eat healthy like I have been, especially since starting this program, and supplementing in a way that you've also recommended, because I didn't realize that you had recommended that I increase my intake of omega-3 uh omega-3 is that fatty acids? Is that what
Yeah.
you'd call
Yeah, like a
it?
fish oil, yeah.
Yeah, fish oil. And so that I noticed by doing so has increasing the intake of any fish like salmon or sardines as two prime examples, as I've always enjoyed and just never was doing on a regular basis till now, and supplementing with the fish oil have at the same time have actually greatly alleviated the symptoms of anxiety. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think too, when we first started dealing with the anxiety with you, we really, well, I focus heavily, and I'm sure everybody who's watched any of my trainings know, focusing on balancing your blood sugar. So eating in a way
yeah.
that keeps your blood sugar very stable, because the symptoms of anxiety and unbalanced blood sugar are very similar. So if
Mhm.
you have your blood sugar going, getting blood sugar spikes and then crashes, it can really trigger anxiety. So sometimes for people also, if they're fasting for long periods, or their blood sugar, or they're eating a lot of carbs and their blood sugar is just swinging up and down, it can be very bad, or it can exacerbate symptoms of anxiety. And I know for myself that's true, because I also suffer from anxiety. And if I don't eat in a way that balances my blood sugar, or I
Mhm.
have too much caffeine, all of those things that keep your blood sugar going up and down can really make your anxiety much, much worse. So,
That's what I failed to mention and was going to mention was the caffeine intake. Reducing caffeine intake helps a lot too, as
yeah.
in my situation it helps a lot as well. So
Yeah. I think in most people's situation, I think, people love caffeine and love coffee, and I do too, but um yeah, sometimes if you're really struggling with mental health or you're struggling with anxiety, you have to take a look at those things. For some people, it doesn't make that much of a difference. Not everybody's really sensitive to caffeine, but a lot of people don't really think that they are, but they are. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So just quickly, maybe what aspects of the program do you feel were important for you to achieve the success that you've had so far in terms of weight loss, but also just overall health?
Oh, I believe that your vast um, knowledge and attention to detail, and in particular to a person's specific needs, and like you say, abilities or inabilities in the kitchen, so to speak.
Yeah.
And
Ah,
as you would have said and did say, you meet a person where they are in terms of their life and life experiences, and their weight and current weight and weight loss goals, or health goals overall. Um, yeah, and the accountability that you bring. Um, these are all important uh, points to consider when joining your program, or at least considering joining your program. That and you're so readily available through uh, any means, any type of media, through Zoom, through even, if it gets down to it, if you have to make a person-to-person call, but normally it's just email or Zoom,
yeah,
or Facebook Messenger. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, I
very
guess the point
personal.
is, if
Yeah.
yeah, if you need me, then I'm there to help. Obviously, sometimes I'm not going to respond respond to messages in the middle of the night. I mean, I have clients
Oh,
all over the world too, but during working hours, for sure. I mean, you can send me a picture of something from the grocery store if you need help deciding if it's the right choice, all of these things. So, yeah, which is important because I think one of the worst things when you're trying to take control of your health is not knowing, right? Is
yeah,
feeling like you're guessing and feeling like, you're going to try this thing, but it might not work. And I think that's part of what's good about the program and working with me is that I have a lot of experience, so I can make sure that you're doing the right thing the first time and
yeah.
not having to go through the trial and error. Okay, so the last thing is that I want to ask you is, do you feel confident going forward? Because you're coming to the end of the program. Yes, you've lost 30 pounds, but you'd still like to lose more. So my question really is, do you feel confident at this point in your ability um, to lose that weight, to understand what your body needs to lose the weight?
Um, yeah, I believe I actually do have. I'm quite confident in moving forward. That I'll be able to continue to lose the weight, and eventually reach my ideal uh, body weight.
Yeah,
Because I now know that I'm in full control, as I've learned through your program, that it basically boils down to what you put in your mouth, and in what order, and what combinations of your uh, vegetables, protein and carbs, or fiber, protein and carbs, and in what order to consume them, and in what amounts. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
the times a day, obviously. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing your experience. It's been an absolute pleasure having you in the program. Um, and I mean, I foresee that you're going to have all the success that you want with, continuing doing what you're doing and losing the rest of your weight and getting down to your goal weight and being healthy long into your, I don't know, maybe until you're 100 or older.
Yeah, I read a columnist, a medical columnist that's still writing a weekly column of 100 years old. So there you go.
There you go, right? Anything's possible. And at least, like you just said, that you have complete control over your health. Obviously, things can happen. You don't have 100% control, but you do have control over, the food that you feed your body. And when you do that properly, you really have the ability to stave off all kinds of chronic illness and also, improve your mental health, which is sometimes one of the most important things, right?
Yeah, mental and
Yep,
gut health go hand in hand, as they say.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it has
yeah.
been a great pleasure working with you too, Trina. So
Okay. All right. Thanks so much, Alan.
you're welcome.